Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again. At the end of your second stage of video editing, when it comes to text, you now understand how to generate titles, subtitles, how to create really cool text styles, create very high quality text animations, and make them stand out with glow. So with this being said, guys, I want to practice this whole thing together. I'm not going to be diving into the details. We're just going to be doing it. And I want you guys to redo this whole thing as part of, your homework or training. I want you guys to redo this whole thing one more time on your raw footage so that you can make sure that you practice it and fully understand how to make text inside of Premiere Pro. So with this being said, let us dive right in. The first thing I've got over here is my empty sequence. I'm going to go ahead and drag in my raw video, keep the existing settings, and let's start by making our J-cuts. As always, guys, we have to keep practicing these to remember them. The more you practice them, the more you remember them. We remove the silence over here in the beginning, click on C to select my razor tool, add a cut after I speak, a cut before I speak, select your A for your selector tool, select the middle, and then delete it like so. Let's do the same thing over here like this. Select the middle, delete it like so. And then just same thing over here, select the middle and delete it like so. You guys are already used to this, so I can go pretty quickly with it. Now let's go ahead and add now that our basic cuts are finished, let's go ahead and add our J cuts. So we're going to select our selector and we're going to hold down Alt to bring our video back and play around with our audio. So I'm just going to overlap them. You guys are professionals by now, so we can just do it like this. And you guys already know what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and zoom out, move forward a bit more. So let's bring this thing in a bit. Let's move this thing back a little bit and then bring it in like so. And let's do the same thing over here. Move this thing back and then overlap them like so. And just like that, we're done with our J-cuts. This is a sample video. Sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Sometimes I might even say important things like this. Other times I'm probably going to say something absolutely useless. All right, awesome. Let's go ahead and add our zoom ins because that is part of making very high quality raw footage. We're going to add a quick zoom in over here in the beginning. This is a sample video. Sample video. We're going to add a quick zoom out over here in the second one. I think that might look actually pretty interesting. This is a sample video. Sample video is where I speak. Yeah, I think that looks a lot interesting. The reason it looks interesting, by the way, guys, and the reason we broke the rule right now, is just because when you zoom into here, you're zooming into a scale of 120. And when you're zooming out of here, you're zooming out from a scale of 120. So the background doesn't change. So it doesn't feel like a cut. It seems like a seamless cut. Is a sample video. Sample video is where I speak and I take a few. But I don't want to overdo this. I just want to do this once. Sometimes I might even say important things like this. Other times I'm probably. And then the final one, I'm also just going to have a spike zoom in. Let's go like this. Probably going to say something absolutely useless. There we go. Awesome. This is a sample video. Sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Sometimes I might even say, let's go ahead and generate our text. We're going to select all of these, go over to our text window. If you don't see it, click on window, click on text, you're going to see it. Go over to transcribe and then just go ahead and generate a transcribe. There we go. We're going to go ahead and transcribe our sequence and we get the transcript. Let's go ahead and watch through it and double check that our text is correct. Remember, the first step, transcribe your audio, turn it into words. The second step is double check if the words are correct. This is a sample video. Sample video. So over here, we've got sample video. It just wrote sample. So we're going to type out sample video. Sample video. Sample video. Over here, we've got a sample video. So here we could just delete the. We could completely delete this sample video. The sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Sometimes I might even say important things like this. Other times I'm probably going to say something absolutely useless. And as I mentioned before, guys, we're going to remove all of our periods. So there's a few ways you could do this. You can either go in and remove it individually or you can search here. So if you click on S, it's going to give you all the S's. So we're going to search for a period. It's going to highlight all our periods. We're going to click on replace. And we're going to replace it with nothing. Click on replace all. That's going to delete all of our periods. Let's click on captions and let's generate the maximum characters of 40 and minimum duration of 2 seconds. Let's make something smaller. Let's do 30 characters and single lines. And then we already have the styles, so we could actually select the styles from here, but we're going to be recreating them for the sake of practice. Okay. Click on create captions and we're good to go. Perfect. Let's go ahead and create our text style. We're going to select our window, go over to properties, and then let's start with the Nexa text style. And then let's set the heavy. Let's make sure we increase that font size to something like 75. Let's set it in the center align it. This looks very solid. Leave the fill as it is. Maybe the drop shadow needs a little bit more blur just to kind of blend in a bit nicer with the background. That looks awesome. And with that being said, I like that. So now it's going to apply that to the rest of it if we just set that as our text style, right? So we're going to add, you're going to create your text style and you can just add it here. So we're going to just add the one we already have. And now we're going to select all of this, go over to graphics and titles and upgrade the caption to graphics so that we can start adding our text animations. So now that we have our text animations added in as presets, it's going to be easy.
This is a sample video.
Oh, whoops, we forgot to do our special text. So let's go ahead and undo this, go back to our section here, and then let's select sample video, for example, and change its color to, let's go with red for this one, okay, just to show you guys. So we're going to go with red, bold, and italic. And then here, we're also going to go with sample video. We're also going to highlight it with red, bold, and italic. So red, bold, and italic. And then over here, we're going to highlight pauses. Let's do it with pauses. Red, bold, italic. Here we're going to not highlight sometimes. Here we're going to highlight important. So let's go for important, red, bold, italic. And then here other times I'm probably going to say something absolutely useless. Absolutely useless can be highlighted with red, bold, and italic as always. Red, bold, and italic. And awesome, there we go. Now we have a combination of really cool text and so on. Let's go ahead and select all of this and upgrade the captions to graphic, and let's go ahead and start adding some text animations. So I'm going to just bring these down all the way here, and we're going to close down our properties panel. Let's start adding some cool text animations. I'm going to go with my scale in for this one, since I went with the pop up for this one. So we're going to add in the transform effect and do it for one of them, and then just apply it to the rest of them. So click on the transform effect, move the anchor point so that the anchor point's at the center, and then move its position down over to here. That looks awesome. Then let's keyframe the scale, move it forward, and have it start at something like 50. This way it's going to start small and then end big. We're going to move this down, make it quick in the beginning, like this. You guys already know
This is
boom. And then we're going to bump up the shutter angle, and we're just going to make it start a bit faster.
This is a sample video.
Like that. Very nice. I'm actually going to make it start at 65 because I like a subtle effect more. The more subtle the effects, the more high quality they look. Trust me.
This is a
There we go. Awesome. That looks amazing. Now we're going to right click and copy this, and we can just paste it on the rest of them. So paste it here, 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 and then paste it here. You guys can use Control V, by the way, but I just want to do this just so you guys understand everything that is happening. And then finally, let's watch through it.
This is a sample video. Sample video is where I speak and I take a few.
So here we've got sample video. This is supposed to be A. There's supposed to be an A over here. The A doesn't have to be white. It doesn't have to be red. So I'm going to go down to my text and select the A and make sure it's just white. Okay. And then here we could delete the A from this section.
Sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Sometimes I might even say important things like this. Other times I'm probably going to say something absolutely useless.
And there we go. Let's go ahead and make our text stand out with some glow. Let's go ahead and search up for the VR glow like so. And we're going to add the VR glow to one of them. And we're going to drop the threshold all the way down. We're going to bump up the glow brightness and increase the radius until we get this cool effect. And that looks awesome. So now I'm going to right click and copy this. And I'm just going to apply this to all of them. So we can select this and click Control V. And it instantly gets added here. Okay, so select this. Control V, select this, Control V, select this, Control V, this, Control V, this thing, Control V, this thing, Control V, and this thing, Control V. And with this being said, guys, there we go. We end up with some high quality text.
Sample video is where I speak and I take a few pauses. Sometimes I might even say important things like this. Other times I'm probably going to say something absolutely useless.
So with this being said, guys, this is what high quality text looks like. And this is exactly how we make high quality text, and that's stage 2 of video editing. So now you're an editor who understands how to make very good raw footage, stage 1, and you understand how to make really good text, stage 2. It's time to move on to stage 3, which is the big one. And it's time to get into animations. I'm going to save all the talk for the next course. In the next course, I'm going to tell you guys all about animations and how to make high quality animations inside of Premiere Pro, and how we're going to master animations as video editors. So congratulations, you've just mastered how to make text inside of Premiere Pro. Let's dive into animations in the next course. See you guys there.